How do you water a Venus flytrap? Well, let's find out. So first things first, you don't need to sit them in water. That's not a requirement at all. Most of mine, like this big pot, it just sits on the patio. It doesn't sit in a water tray at all. However, there can be certain benefits. So the basic idea to keep in mind is as long as the sphagnum moss or the peat moss that you're using is moist, and you can kind of put your finger, down into it and see, okay, does it have any moisture down there? Is it really dry? And if it's, moist and wet like any other potted plant, it's good. You don't need to water it. It doesn't need to be sitting in water. However, these small pots can dry out pretty fast, especially if it's outdoors in full sun. So sometimes it's easier to just take some distilled water, make sure it's distilled water. They can't have tap water, bottled water with lots of minerals in it. Distilled water, rainwater, or reverse osmosis water. And I'd fill it about maybe up to ½ an inch, honestly, more like 1/4 of an inch. And you sit it down in there, and that's how my plants sit in the summertime, just sitting out in the full sun, kind of have a little bit of water in the bottom. And I wait for this tray of water to dry out completely before I refill it again. So it's not really constant water. It does dry out a little bit from the bottom, but this effect is that the plant stays evenly moist. Now, of course, you don't have to do this. You can achieve the same moisture level just sitting the pot on a table or a patio or your deck or something, but then you're just gonna have to go out there every morning and every evening and check if it's still moist and keep pouring water on it so that soil stays moist as the water evaporates. So some people just find it easier to sit it in a tray. There is no chance of an accident happening where the plant will completely dry out and die in a scenario like this. Of course, the size of the pot makes a difference as well. So something like this is going to dry out a lot faster than a container like this. So this is a container of seed-grown Venus flytraps. It's about, 8 to 9 inches deep and maybe 5 to 6 inches in diameter across the top of this pot. And it's filled with sphagnum moss and peat moss and perlite, kind of a combination of all three. And once this pot is watered, it's pretty heavy, it retains water. So this has been sitting on the patio all summer, just on the stone patio, not sitting in water at all. And of course, they flower, they produce seeds, they're all growing fine. However, I do have most of my collection in a big tray like this, and I just fill it all the way with the pots. And similar to this, I keep 1/4 of an inch of water in the tray. I wait for it to dry out before I water again. So another thing that is going to change how you water your Venus flytrap is the season. So like I said, I only keep them in this type of setup when it's the summertime, it's hot and sunny, and they're using a lot of water. In the winter time, springtime, and the autumn, they just sit in a dry tray. If it fills up with a rainstorm, then I dump it out and I just keep them sitting like this, mostly just to catch the water that runs off. And they're perfectly fine like that. If you check the soil every day and it's still staying moist, there's no reason that you need to sit them in water. And then in the wintertime, it's going to be a lot colder. There's not going to be as much evaporation happening, so you don't need to have them sitting in water anymore. That's going to be way too wet, and it's going to increase your chance of rot. So overall, the basic idea is that you just keep the soil level consistently moist without drying out. And as long as you do that, you don't really need them flooded or sitting in water, except for the hottest part of summer. Like I said, if it's in full sun, like it should be, 90 degrees outside, 100 degrees outside, then you can keep like 1/4 of an inch of water inside of a tray and then just let it dry out before you refill it again. All right, so that's about it for the watering of Venus flytraps. It's pretty simple. If you still have any questions, you can leave it in the comments section down below. Also, you can hit the subscribe button to be notified when I make a new video. I have a few different topics about Venus flytraps I'm going to be going more in depth into. So When you hit that subscribe button, you'll be notified when I make a new video, but that's going to be it for right now.